Hey everyone, how's it going? I just wanted to give a special shout out real quick to Dr. G and just say thank you, Dr. G, for this amazing course. Thank you for dedicating your time, your wisdom, your energy, and just in speaking truth and educating us on the topic at hand in this course. And just really appreciate you again for that London trip and just organizing everything, helping everybody, helping it go smoothly. So just want to thank you for that, and look forward to building my relationship with you and just keeping in touch and just carry on. And because I'm really supportive of your vision and what you want to do at CBU, and just building that sports psychology field up and in that department. So just so looking forward to staying in touch with you and just growing together. So, but without further ado, I'm going to start basically with this assignment. And the purposes of the assignment is, obviously you could tell, it's the psychological aspects of sport and exercise in regards to a specific population that I had chosen. And we're going to talk a little bit about just some of the socio-cultural, behavioral aspects and factors and influences that can affect sports performance in regards to my population. And we're going to talk a little bit about goal setting, some short-term, long-term goals, some process, performance, and outcome goals, and then we're going to talk a little bit of bring up a piece of scripture that's really close and dear to me, especially after going through this course and everything, and just just some of the things that I've learned and picked up on as I've been educated through this course. And so excuse the noise, any extra noise. I'm kind of outside of a elementary school right now, so but let's go ahead and start. So yeah, basically my target population I chose was basically amateur basketball players, specifically the point guard positional athlete, just because they are carrying making a lot of the decision making on the court, handling the ball more so. So turnovers are a big deal for them, just kind of just how they navigate that and just their thought process behind it, because they're kind of looking at everything and not just focus on one role, but more so kind of focusing on helping everybody, supplementing everybody else's role. And so what I did was, obviously I'm not playing on a team anymore, but I thought about going to 24-hour, which I have a membership at, and just going there at the rec center and just playing pickup games. And I'll be standing on the side, kind of watching and observing, also kind of participating in there as well. And just wanted to see how basically psychological traits and characteristics, and how the different diversities of people and how they all kind of influence and affect each other as far as physical performance and athletic performance. So two things here, two factors of socialization, culture, inequality in sport and exercise. Basically what that means is kind of just four big variables that have been known throughout the behavioral aspects of sport and any type of psychology, sports psychology classes and courses, is different theories and models of how these athletes basically either motivate themselves or use different tactics, either through coaches or through themselves. And two of them right here. Well, the first one to start off is just competition and desire to compete. So basically, it can work as a benefit or a detriment to you, for the player. It can enhance self-esteem and confidence. Having that desire to compete, wanting to win. Ultimately achieving those goals and winning, it's just definitely can enhance your self-esteem and confidence, and that you can do it again. Some of the negative aspects that I've noticed is that people can kind of take it and carry away, in terms of competition, and they end up cheating, excessive aggression, right? They're so preoccupied with winning that they're kind of missing over a lot of other things, and just calling unnecessary fouls. This is more like with the basketball population, but just calling unnecessary fouls and to get the ball back, or lying about stepping on the line for a three-pointer, whether it's a two-pointer or three-pointer, just little things like that I've noticed. Another big motivational factor, another variable, is reinforcement. I think our book talks a lot about it, and just the different types of reinforcement that could be happening, like just smiling, praising, just public statements, just way to go, good job, just just having that energy, positive energy, and that positive reinforcement goes a long way with a lot of players, more so than not. And obviously there's negative approaches to reinforcement, negative reinforcement as well, where say there's somebody turns the ball over, takes a bad shot, or just little things that that mostly the skilled players can kind of get on the less skilled players, which is kind of a negative thing, negative aspect in my mind, but it happens pretty frequently. And just adding on to those, a couple other variables and factors in terms of just the different socialization, socio-cultural, just inequality in sports is motivation. Motivation is kind of pretty vague, because it can be intrinsic, extrinsic. It could be for a moment. It could be for long-term motivation. Different things that depends on the athlete. But some things for intrinsic motivation that I personally had, when I was in school and and playing basketball, just players that just wanted to look good, right? So it doesn't matter if they were winning, if they made the right play for the team, as long as if they didn't get the credit, they weren't really that excited, even if the team was winning. If they didn't look good but the team won, they were still down, which was kind of, honestly, it comes off negative to the rest of the team. And some, especially for me working in the rec center or playing at the local gym, they're still young kids, 18-year-olds, so they're competing to make it on a college team, or just to get a scholarship, scholarship opportunities or whatever, different things. Some of the basic kind of, were in my population was just the reward incentive, for staying on the court. That if you win, you kind of stay on the court, which was pretty cool. One of the last ones, the variables, it was flow state, which I really liked. I thought, because personally I've actually experienced this, where, being in the zone, and where basically, you feel like every shot you take is going to go in. Your dribbling is enhanced. All your skill sets kind of just get a little bit better, a little bit enhanced, and it's all your skill sets get elevated basically. So, and that's a combination of intrinsic motivation, extrinsic challenges. The thing is, though, with this, it's really intangible. It's not really anything you can just pick or it's unpredictable. You can't really just see it happening. You can't. It just happens, and once it gets going, it's pretty unbelievable. Just getting in that zone, and I'm sure that's with any sports or any athletics, but just for me and my sake and my experience, I've had this with basketball plenty of times. Some of the goals here, I just have the short-term goals. I won't read all of this, but just the short-term for the outcome is we always play to 15, with 2s and 1s. So just that's our incentive. That's obviously we're having fun out there, but the goal is to win, right? And just recommending an effort strategy, emphasizing that just effort and execution and how individual roles come together and build that team cohesion, and to ultimately beat the other team, right? They have to come together. There's no way 5-on-5 sport. You have to use your team, just because it's so many other factors involved, that nobody really as an amateur athlete is going to be heads and heads and shoulders over anybody else. Pretty much about the same skill set average. They kind of cancel each other out for the less skilled players versus the more skilled. So for performance, I could see the picture right here of all the different roles and the different positions on the court. But just basically just executing your role, whether you're a shooter, a rebounder, ball handler, just having individualistic strategies to kind of basically motivate yourself in those performances, right? A rebounder should always be leading the team in rebounds, always boxing out, never missing an assignment. A ball handler should have a low turnover ratio, meaning less turnovers to assists. And then just shooters, just keep shooting and make sure that they're making all their shots, and at least close to 50% or more than the other players, because that's kind of their role. Some of the process goals here, the short term is kind of overall minimizing turnovers, so keeping it under 7 turnovers, I would say, in a 15 first 1 to 15 point game. And this could be implemented in a lot of different ways, but I would say initially just make sure you're kind of hesitant on making sure that you're making the right decisions. If you're going to shoot, you're open, you're not taking bad shots, just not having a bad attitude that can kind of be a self-detriment to the team and just kind of give off that negative momentum. Let's see. So then for the long-term goals, for the outcome, I just gave a number out there, but just win 3 games in a row, and that requires definitely building cohesion, team cohesion. It's a lot of running, it's a lot of cardio to be, that's a lot of endurance, cardiorespiratory endurance. So I'd recommend, for the team, if we're building a team and kind of just growing from there, to really get out after it, in the gym, and just kind of hit that cardio, because even as a player back in high school, my coaches would run us to that, because they always say the most fit team, usually is going to win. So. And for the long term, for the performance, is overall just consistency, and whatever that is that you're trying to grow in, and breeding exponential growth. I believe this is an innate, just core quality of, and characteristic of a human in general, not just an athlete, but just a human. They're just constantly growing. Life is a constant progression of growth, and just basketball or any other sport, you take it the same approach to it, and just kind of continue to build those, through drills and continue to build those skill sets through drills, like, you know, like shooting, dribbling, defense, all that stuff, whatever it is that your role is kind of requiring. And then obviously the long-term process goes kind of going along with the limiting the turnovers and just overall better decision making, ball handling. That doesn't happen overnight. That happens with practice and repetitions and just being there, playing consistently, and having that feel for the game. So that's why I put it more of a long-term goal here. All right, and then just a mission statement real quick, just to wrap up. Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And here I just put another quote for a book from Caroline Leaf, Dr. Caroline Leaf, Switch on Your Brain. It's been amazing. But it's through our thoughts we can be our own microsurgeons as we make choices that will change the circuits in our brains. We were designed to do our own brain surgery and rewire our brains by thinking and by choosing to renew our minds. So this book is awesome because it starts off with scripture, and then it goes into a scientific fact of that scripture and kind of just goes off that, and that's what that chapter is about. So I love her. I love the way she explains things. I just kind of want to leave it at that because I think it's a really good description of everything, of having that control of our minds. And then just some of the stuff I learned, just obviously neurological sports performance, and kind of just really, you know, for me, I had a background in this and kind of working with athletes and neurologically, kind of helping them increase their proprioception, rehabbing them from concussions, and it was an awesome experience that, you know, different tactics that we were doing to help them with that. Obviously, biochemistry, the neurochemical influences on athletic performance, all the stuff, all the, you know, the neurochemicals rushing, the different ones at different times as you're, you know, exerting force, exerting energy, mental energy, all that stuff. And then obviously just overall what this course was basically about, just the mental, behavioral, emotional aspects of sports and athletic performance and how those can influence the physical and actually manifest a lot of things that, you know, initially we're just thinking it's only physical stuff, but, you know, we're humans, we're mental, spiritual, emotional, physical beings, and you can't just put us in a box as physical because we're so much more than that. And thank God that we are. So, but yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys. This is my references here, and thank you so much.